Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namami Buddham Gunasagarantam Santa Sada Hontu Sukhi Averam Kayo Jiguncho Sakalo Dugandho Gachanti Sabbe Maranam Ahancha Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in the Dhamma, all of you are warmly welcome. And today we are going to discuss one of the major topics in Buddhism, that mindfulness. That is a very common topic in the current society. And first of all, I would like to give you a short introduction what Buddhism is. That is very important. And Buddha says very clearly that he declares the liberation for the people who know Dhamma, who see Dhamma. Buddha says very clearly, I declare the liberation, the getting rid of suffering for the person who knows Dhamma, who sees Dhamma. It is very important. You know, when we go to a new place, first of all, we should know the address or map. Without knowing address, even though we have a lot of strength, we can't reach the destination. That is very important. In the same way, Buddha says, on this path, we know what we practice, what is the destination, how we practice it. That is very important. You know, everybody does everything for the happiness. Happiness is the main purpose of everyone. We earn money, we study, we get married, we do everything in the name of happiness. But unfortunately, day by day, we go away from happiness. What is the reason? For example, when you think you are very young age, when you are schooling, when you were in your high school, sometimes you may be happier. And when we see the society, when we see the world, people day by day go away from their real happiness. Have you thought about this situation? What's the reason in this problem? Because we mostly trust in outside people and things. When those things change, we suffer. We have sorrow. And also, we trust in our physical body. When we are in young age, when we have good complexion, health, we are happy. When our physical body gradually changes, and also we face sicknesses, and our happiness gradually overcomes. In this situation, Buddhism has explained how we achieve the real happiness. In one way, we should develop our inner happiness, and also we should develop the ability that how we overcome suffering, and also, especially as you have to point out the way how other people overcome suffering, and also how they achieve real happiness. According to Buddhism, or not only even Buddhism, but as you mentioned before, everybody's main goal is happiness. Happiness is for happiness, it is very important. We should understand, for happiness, what should we do? What is the foundation of happiness? Usually, in the world, people may think that when they are well educated, when they are very rich, they are happy. Actually, it is not fault. But we should understand how we achieve the real happiness. According to Buddhism, when we discuss Buddhist doctrines, it is very clear that our happiness depends on how far we have overcome negative thoughts from our mind. What are the major unwholesome thoughts that disturb our peace of mind? Yes, there are three major unwholesome thoughts which arise in our mind and disturb our peace of mind. We should identify these negative thoughts, and that is very important. There are three major unwholesome thoughts. One of them is, as you mentioned before, greed. Greed, craving, clinging, attachment, or lust. This is one of the major unwholesome root. And the second one, as you mentioned, what is the second unwholesome thought that disturbs our peace of mind? Anger or ill will. Anger. And the third one is, yes, very good, delusion or ignorance. Again and again, we should understand this nature. And according to Buddhism, in some levels, has explained how we overcome these negative thoughts. Buddha says, greed is difficult to overcome, but it is not danger. And anger is easy to overcome, but results are dangerous. And how about delusion? Delusion is extremely difficult to overcome, and also results are also dangerous. When we compare these three unwholesome roots, greed is difficult to overcome, but results are not bad, results are not dangerous than other defilements. Anger is easy to overcome, but the results are dangerous. And delusion is the worst unwholesome emotion which disturbs our peace of mind. It is extremely difficult to overcome, and results are also more dangerous. And among them, when we are going to overcome our suffering, sorrow, lamentation, or when we are going to advise others to overcome their problems, their stress, their anxiety, we have to advise them. And also we have to follow this path too. First of all, we should have a very good strength in our personality. Then we can advise, we can help others too. That is very important. In the primary level, Buddha has explained that how we overcome greed. When we are going to overcome greed, or covetousness, clinging or attachment, it is very useful to practice generosity, offering something to others. It says in Buddhism, dana. There are 3 meritorious deeds that Buddhism has explained in the primary level when we are going to overcome suffering, when we are going to achieve happiness. In the primary level, we have to practice 3 meritorious deeds. One of them is dana. Yes, offering something to others with pure mind, giving something to others. That is also one of the techniques. Actually, especially in Buddhist countries, a lot of people practice usually generosity, especially in Asian countries. They always practice generosity. Sometimes we have seen some people, they don't eat without offering something to others. Even they are in the restaurants. Actually, they want to offer something to others who are nearby. And that is one of the good qualities. In the primary level, we practice generosity. Actually, if you are not generous, you are not here. Actually, when we enter to this path, first of all, we should listen to this message. When we come to this message, actually we should be generous. If we are not generous, we can listen to this message. All of you can be happy. Because of your generosity, you are here. Even though you don't offer something physically, you are generous because you have donated your time, valuable time. That is why you are here. And the second one which disturbs our peace of mind is anger. Anger is one of the major reasons that we suffer. And in this situation, Buddha has explained how we overcome anger in the primary level. What are the techniques that we are going to overcome anger? Mr. Selvam?
Loving kindness.
Yes, we are discussing very primary, fundamental things in Buddhism. In the primary level, we practice loving kindness. Not only Buddhism, even some current psychiatrists recommend to practice loving kindness to their clients to overcome stress. Practicing loving kindness is one of the techniques which is recommended to people who are stressed. Because we mostly suffer, we mostly get upset because of anger. If we can overcome anger, actually we can overcome more than 50% stress from our mind. In this situation, Buddha explained on the path of liberation at the very beginning, we should start to practice loving kindness. How do we practice loving kindness? We think, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Again and again, we wish other people. We see other people's success as our success. When other people are successful, we are happy. When other people have some problems, we are compassionate. We are ready to help others. As the result of practicing loving kindness, there is a very good example in Buddhism. I think you have heard Metta Sutta, Karani Metta Sutta. There it says that Mata yatani yam puttam ayusa eka putta manurakke evampi sabba bhutesu mana sambhavaya parimanam. When a mom sees her only son with compassion, loving kindness, we also should have that kind of attitude. When we see a person, we think that that person is like our only son or daughter. If we have this intention, attitude, actually we have overcome a lot of problems in our day-to-day life. In this situation, it is very important to practice loving kindness day by day, every day. At least 10 minutes. Try to practice loving kindness at least 6 months continuously. Then you can see a very big change in your life. You can see the result because the Dhamma is well expounded, immediately effective, visible results, calling one to come and see, leading onwards, and to be realized by the wise. Okay, and third one is delusion. This is the very, very important thing. And what should we do to overcome greed in the primary level? We have to practice dana or generosity. And when we are going to reduce anger, we practice loving kindness. We think, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May they be successful everywhere, every moment. May they attain final bliss of liberation. We think again and again. Because a lot of people in the world, they work hard every day for our facilities. And also according to Buddhism, all people in the world who were our close relatives and friends in our previous lives. Although we don't believe previous lives, actually in this short life we know very well, a lot of people have helped us to become this situation. We have a lot of facilities because of other people's strength, power, their energy. Therefore, we should be grateful to their service. When we practice meditation of loving kindness, we develop this attitude. That is very important for our inner peace. And also, reducing delusion is the main purpose of all Buddhist doctrines. Because this is like the main switch or trip switch. Even though we have reduced greed or anger, it is impermanent until we completely reduce delusion. When Buddha appeared in the world, there were some ascetic people who had eradicated their greed and anger for a long time. There were some ascetic people when Buddha appeared in the world who had reduced their lust and anger for 84 great eons. It is a very long time. Even though they had reduced their greed and anger, they were not successful when Buddha appeared in the world. What is the reason? Before Buddha appeared in the world, they didn't know about delusion or ignorance. Therefore, they think only 5 hindrances, pancha nivarana. But Buddhism has introduced 6 hindrances with delusion. In this situation, first of all, we should understand what is the delusion. We can explain it in both levels, 2 levels. One of them is unknowing the karmic law. I think you have heard about the karmic law. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is a very important topic in Buddhism. What is the opposite side of delusion? What is the opposite of greed? Generosity. What is the opposite of anger? Loving kindness. What is the opposite of delusion or ignorance? Wisdom. Very good. Wisdom. Wisdom can be divided into 2 according to Buddhism. That is very important. Buddhism is highly appreciated wisdom. Wisdom is highly appreciated in Buddhism. Buddha says, Panya Naranang Ratanam. Wisdom is the very valuable gem of men. Paññāya parisujjati, wisdom purifies our mind. Therefore, Buddhism always has appreciated improving our wisdom. In the primary level, in wisdom, we should develop our knowledge of karmic law. What is the nature of the karmic law? What is the meaning of karmic law? I think you know the meaning. Yes? Yes, cause and effect. And cause and effect can be applied in two ways. Especially, I focus here the karmic law. Karmic law also has the cause and effect. But especially here, it says the mental condition. Whatever we do with volition, intention, we will have the same results. If we do something with impure mind, we will have the bad results, evil results because of polluted mind. If we do something with impure mind, physically, verbally or mentally, we will have the evil results. Nobody likes get evil results. Therefore, we should understand the second level, that if we do something with pure mind, we will have the fruitful results, wholesome results, good results because of pure mind. Then we try to practice good deeds. I think you have heard the Buddha's message in short, in a stanza. Sabba papa sakaranam, kusalasa upasampada, sacitta pariyodapanam etam buddhana sasanam. All Buddha's teachings that he did in his 45 years as a Buddha can be included in this very same stanza. Sabba papa sakaranam, not to do evil. If we are knowledgeable about the karmic law, we don't like to do bad deeds, unwholesome deeds, because we know very well we will have the negative results, evil results if we do something with impure mind. We don't like to suffer, because we have worked hard, we have done a lot of things for our happiness. We don't like to suffer more. Therefore, as soon as we are knowledgeable about the karmic law, we try to overcome negative thoughts from our mind. And also not only reducing negative thoughts, but we have to generate positive thoughts, such as generosity, loving kindness, compassion. These are the thoughts which develop our inner peace. And the first level of wisdom is understanding of karmic law. That is very important. What is the second level of wisdom? Yes, understanding of the different origination, cause and effect, causality, the impermanence. Impermanence is the main topic in Buddhism. I think you have already heard about impermanence. What is your idea about impermanence? What is the definition for impermanence in Buddhism? I ask Buddhist definition, if you know. What is your idea?
That all things are changing, that nothing is permanent, that nothing has a eternal self.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
My understanding was the concept of non-self or no self. And so...
Actually, there are three very close words. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. Anicca means impermanence. Dukkha means suffering. Anatta means egolessness, no soul. They are interrelated, but they are different. And impermanence, what is your idea? Have you heard about impermanence, please?
I think it means that nothing ever stays the same. Everything
Yes.
is born and will die and grow old and get sick
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Yes. Okay. Have any other ideas about impermanence? How about Mr. Selvan? Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with everything.
Okay.
For example, you mentioned previous weeks. You can't blame again and again the same person.
Yes. How about Miss Joan? What is your idea? What is your definition in impermanence in Buddhism?
Impermanence, as I understand it, is related to the aggregations. It's related to our I consciousness. It's related to our E consciousness, our five mental. So when we think of something,
Okay.
we can kind of, it's not the same at the moment before, because everything is at the present moment. The moment before that is not the same, because the mind is not, the continent of the eye, the ear, the senses is not the same. Even though we experience the same, but it's one moment to the next is totally different.
Okay, good. Okay, now I am going to explain more things. Thank you for all of your answers. And also, when we discuss Buddhist impermanence, that is very important to understand the present society definition. But when we ask someone what is impermanence, they mostly say changing. But according to Buddhism, there are two close words. One is Viparinama in Pali language. Viparinama. The other one is Anicca. Have you heard? I think you have heard Viparinama and Anicca. Viparinama means change. Anicca means impermanence. And mostly we think that both of them are same. Actually, they have some similarities, but these both words are different. We can see some qualities, some characteristics in anicca like viparinama. But viparinama is easy to understand. But impermanence is not like that. I think you have heard when Buddha, before Buddha gave up his palace, his relatives, he knew that death, sickness, decay, he had understood before he gave up his things, before his renunciation. And after he enlightened, Buddha declared very clearly, Pubbe anunusutesu dhammesu chakkum udapadi. I discovered a new thing that I have never heard. That is a very special declaration. Buddha says, I realized a very special thing that I have never realized. When he attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, he realized, discovered, analyzed a very special thing. But before he enlightened, he had understood decay, sickness, death, separation. He had realized, he had understood. In this situation, it is very, very important to understand anicca. Especially when someone learns, understands Buddhism, and also when You say someone, I study Buddhism, I am a Buddhist, I practice Buddhist teachings. Then if that person is well knowledgeable, that person may ask you very special question that what is anicca? Throughout your answer, if he is a very qualified person in Buddhism, he understands where you are in. That is very important. Therefore, it is very important to understand the real meaning of anicca. You know, even scientists have realized changing. When they divide atom, classifying electron, proton, neutron, they have realized, discovered changing. But anicca is not like that. Anicca is different. Now we should understand, we learn what is the impermanence. Impermanence means the experience that we receive at the moment throughout our senses, that experience arises at the moment. For example, we usually get a same example. When we do this sound, someone can say, this table is impermanent. One day, this table can be destroyed. My ear also is going to decay. My body also one day is going to fall to the land. And everything is impermanent. Actually, understanding of changing of this table or my ears or my body is not difficult. What is the impermanence that Buddhism says? This sound arises at the moment. The process of this sound, in these conditions, when conditions are together, you can hear a sound. And this sound was not here before you heard. And also this sound will not go to future from the present after you experience. This experience arises and ceases at the moment. This is the nature of the impermanence. And also, on the other side, even though my fingers create this sound doesn't belong to my fingers. This sound doesn't belong to my ears. This sound doesn't belong to my consciousness. This sound doesn't belong to air. But without these conditions, this sound is not alive. Without these conditions, there is no sound, but this sound doesn't belong to anything. This is the deep meaning of impermanence. How we understand? Here it is very important to understand ignorance. What is the ignorance? Ignorance is when this sound arises, we think this sound belongs to fingers. For example, when you blame me, I may think that sound belongs to you. That is why I get angry with you. And also, the other ignorance is that before I experience this thing, then I think something was here. After experience, I think that experience remains. That is why when somebody has blamed you, as soon as you remember that person, what happens to your mind? You may get angry because that person has blamed you once. Your ignorance helps you to be blamed again and again. You are blamed again and again. because of ignorance.
It's living in the past experience.
Yes. It doesn't mean that we should forget our past. Buddhism never says that we have to forget our past or future. And whenever we think something as our past experience, we should be intelligent. We should understand that experience, now I think at the moment like read in my mind. And if we can overcome this ignorance little by little, then we are able to overcome suffering, stress, mental problems. And in this situation, the main doctrine in Buddhism is to overcome ignorance. Ignorance is the main reason, main cause, unwholesome root, which disturbs our peace of mind. And if we want to overcome ignorance, the main foundation is
Mindfulness.
Yes, our topic today, mindfulness. Mindfulness is the foundation of getting rid of ignorance. Mindfulness. Mindfulness. That is why mindfulness is highly appreciated and recommended in Buddhism. Buddha says, the one and only for the purification of beings, for the liberation of beings, for the getting rid of sorrow, lamentation, pain and grief, for reducing ignorance, for achieving wisdom, for attaining enlightenment, which is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the only way to overcome sorrow, lamentation, pain and grief. Practicing mindfulness is the only way to achieve wisdom. Practicing mindfulness is the only way to attain enlightenment. Mindfulness, not only just mindfulness, when we see the society, there are some doctors like psychiatrists, they recommend to practice mindfulness. How they advise us? They may tell that, forget your past, forget your future, live in the present moment. It is same to Buddhism? No, Buddhism never says to forget anything. We should forgive, but never forget. Forgetting is a big mistake. Forgiving is a good quality. And when we practice mindfulness, our memory gradually increases. Again and again, when we practice mindfulness, we can remember everything from our birth. Not only from the birth, but even we can remember what happened when we were in mother's womb. Not only after we came to the mother's womb, there were some Arahants who had an special energy to understand their 500 eons in their previous lives as the result of practicing mindfulness. Memory is not the fault. Fault is ignorance. And in this situation, Buddhism doesn't say us to forget our past or future. We should be aware of our mind and body. Little by little, we should develop our awareness mindfulness, that what happens to our mind and body. And because we think everything is certain, and even though physical things are impermanent, we think that our mind, our spirit is certain. It is also a mistake. Some people may think that even though our physical body is impermanent, our spirit is certain. It is also not correct, according to Buddhism. Every moment our mental condition arises and ceases. It is energy. It is not certain. It is also impermanent. And in this situation, Buddhism has explained not only keeping our mind in the present moment with concentrated mind, we have to reflect on the world reality as it is, as impermanence. Therefore, mindfulness plus clear comprehension, sampajanya, or panya, or wisdom. Clear comprehension. Both of them are together, not just mindfulness. Psychiatrists, they recommend us to practice mindfulness, just mindfulness, but Buddhism doesn't advise us to practice not just mindfulness. Mindfulness always is together with wisdom or clear comprehension, wise consideration, wise reflection. Both of them are together. If someone wants to overcome suffering, in the primary level, we practice generosity, loving kindness. We try to concentrate our mind in the present moment. But concentration is not the final destination. Concentration is not the final destination, because when Buddha appeared in the world, there were a lot of ascetic people who had developed their concentration. Buddhism has added the wisdom or comprehension to the concentration. And in this situation, the special thing in Buddhism is when we are going to overcome ignorance, we should understand the very special topic. What is that? Can you guess that what I am going to explain? What is the bottom level of our all experience? Yes. Where we can see the impermanence? Yes, that is good. That is the process. That is the technique. That is the technique. I ask you, what is the fundamental things that we can see in our life? When we see some flower, when we hear something, when we smell something, when we taste something, what is the fundamental thing of this experience? Yes, 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates. It says in Buddhism, upadana, pancha upadana. 5 aggregates. Whatever we experience, the 5 aggregates arise at the moment. When we see this flower, we always get the flower. But if we get some experience as flowers, the bottom level of this experience is 5 aggregates. And 5 aggregates means that matter or physical things, and rupa, it says in Buddhism rupa, Buddha's language in Pali, it says as rupa. Second one is Vedana, feelings or sensation. Feelings, Vedana. Vedana and perception. Perception good. Perception. Sanya. Sanya. Fourth one, Vijnana or consciousness, or mind. Consciousness. And consciousness, Vijnana. And the fifth one, mental formations or mind objects. Mental formations. Mental formations means Sankara. Sankara. Sankhara. Whatever we experience at the moment, these five aggregates arise. But it is invisible. Flower is visible, five aggregates are invisible. For example, when you drink a tea or coffee or tea is visible, but water, sugar, the powder of coffee, they are invisible. Our life is like that. We can see flowers, sounds, smells, some kind of food. We can see. When we experience something in the bottom level, these five things arise. What is the nature of these five things? These five things were not here before we experienced. And also after experience, these five things will not go to future or they don't remain. But our ignorance doesn't believe it. Our ignorance always says that, my dear friend, after experience, they remain.
Won't the relationship to the experience continuously change?
Please explain it.
So, if I have an experience with the flower now, my relationship to the flower is going to change over time?
Actually, relationship, whether we like or not, relationship change. That is the nature. But this is deeper. For example, when you associate a person, then sometimes he or she may go outside your association or sometimes that the same person associates with you for a long time. It doesn't matter whether he or she lives with you or not. Here, it is very important, the nature of our experience. The nature of our experiences arises at the moment and ceases at the moment. For example, is your mother living yet? No. Yes. When your mother died, you may think that my mother's physical body is over. Then even though her physical body is buried, but still you think your mom, in your mental world, still she is living. And even though your mother's physical body is buried, your mental situation is still happening. And when you think your mom, you may think wherever she is, wherever we can see, not although she is not here, any other world she can be seen. And you think that even though you don't think you are ma'am, she is still living. Actually, we always get a good example, very clear example. For example, daily we go to the mirror. You know, when we want to clean our face or something, we go to the mirror. Before we go to the mirror, our reflection was not there. After we leave the mirror, our reflection doesn't remain there. Our reflection appears when we go to the mirror instantly at the moment. Our experience also like that. When you think you are ma'am, it is like you go to the mirror. When you see your parents or mother's photos, again you are go to the mirror. When you think your father's or mother's voice, again you go to another mirror. There are 6 senses, like 6 mirrors. We always go again and again. But at once, we have only one mirror, through one sense. That experience is not, it is impermanent. Impermanence means that like we are going to the mirror. When we experience this flower at that moment in our world, we have flower. When we think this table, this flower disappears. Then we have another experience. It is a very new experience. Even though we have seen this table before, when we see this table at the moment, this experience completely new. But because of our ignorance, when we see someone that we have seen before, we think that we see the same person that we saw before. For example, when we go to the mirror, we know very well, now I see the reflection that just moment it appears. How about when we go to the mirror with our pet, our dog? How does he mention? That pet may think that before he go to the mirror, there was somebody here. That is why he barks. After he leaves the mirror, he still thinks that that person is there. He comes back to see that person. In that level, we are wise. But in this level, we are ignorant. If we can overcome this level ignorance too, then we are wise. For that, we have to practice mindfulness again and again. Mindfulness in Buddhism is divided into 4. The contemplation of body. The contemplation of body is the first mindfulness part. Contemplation of body. The second one, the contemplation of feelings. Contemplation of feelings. And the third one, contemplation of mind or consciousness. The next one, fourth one, the contemplation of mental formations or mind objects. Those 4 mindfulnesses are recommended to realize, understand these 5 aggregates. Buddha says in his discourses very clearly, how do you show your intelligence? Buddha explained the Abhiññā Sutta, the discourse of Abhiññā. Buddha says, if you are an intelligent person, the way how you show your intelligence to the society or to yourself, understanding of these 5 aggregates. Again and again, we develop our mindfulness throughout 4-fold mindfulness. We try to realize these 5 things. When we practice Kayanupassana, the contemplation of body, we trained our mind to realize what happens to physical things, what happens to our physical body. There are several categories, there are several steps that we can practice to understand physical body. For example, contemplate and reflecting on breathing. Recollecting on breathing is one of the techniques to realize body. And also understanding of 4 fundamental things, elements, 4 elements. Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, earth element, fire element, water element, wind element. And again, our physical body parts, there are 32 body parts, like our hair, skin hair, our teeth. These are the things which consist of our body. If we can separate them wisely, with intelligence, this is hair, this is teeth, this is blood, this is skeleton. One by one we separate. Then we can understand the person. Like we separate a vehicle, then there is nothing there. Now all of them are combined together. We think that there is such a person or being here. When we analyze, when we divide, we can understand it is like a vehicle. And there are some techniques Buddha has explained how we realize the physical body. Because we have to overcome lust. Lust is one of the things which disturb our peace of mind. When we realize, when we analyze our physical body according to the Kayanupassana, the contemplation of body, we can understand what happens to our body, what is the nature of our body. And also, feelings. Feelings means not only physical feelings, but we get feelings through our 6 senses, like ear, nose, ears, body. There are 6 senses. We get feelings through 6 senses. That feelings is also impermanent. That feelings arise at the moment. For example, if you say that I am suffering with my pain in head for a long time, for 1 year, actually it doesn't happen continuously. While you are suffering with headache, you loved, you worked, you studied, you helped others. Whenever you think you are suffering, your headache, at that time you are feeling, you are suffering, you have pain. But that feelings are not coming continuously. It is related to our mind. But our ignorance doesn't believe it. Ignorance advises us, my friend, feelings come continuously. Like a friend, always our ignorance advises us. And otherwise consciousness or vijnana. Vijnana also is impermanent. According to conditions, every moment our consciousness arises, ceases. By practicing the contemplation of mind, we try to realize, understand what happens to our mind. Then we see our mind as an observer. When my mind is polluted with anger, I know very well, now my mind is with anger. When my mind is away from anger, I know very well, now I am away from anger. In this level, Mr. Pranandu, one day you asked the question, what is the difference between consciousness and mental formations? Consciousness, practicing of Chittanupassana, the contemplation of consciousness, we are like observers. We don't criticize or we don't try to reduce our negative thoughts. We are like observers. In this level, Dhammanupassana or the contemplation of mental objects, then at that level, we are knowledgeable. When negative thoughts come to my mind like 5 hindrances, I try to overcome it. Then I am not just an observer. Then I try to reduce negative thoughts and also I try to develop positive thoughts such as 5 spiritual faculties, 6 spiritual enlightenment factors. We practice, we develop positive thoughts. We generate our intelligence, wisdom, concentration in the level of Dhammanupassana. And there are information with details in your hand. Later, you can read and you can improve your knowledge. And here, I am explaining these things in short. And again and again, when we practice the mindfulness according to 4 categories, we are going to understand these 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates. When we practice Kayanupassana or the contemplation of body, we realize, we understand matter of our physical body. When we practice Vedanupassana, the contemplation of feelings, we try to realize, discover, understand our feelings. We understand perception or sanya and we understand mental formations when we practice Dhammanupassana, the contemplation of mental formations. When we practice Chittanupassana, the contemplation of consciousness, we try to realize, discover, analyze the nature of our consciousness. All of these things are not permanent. These 5 things, every moment arises and ceases. When we see something, when we hear something, when we smell something, when we eat something, when we experience anything through any sense, at that moment, these 5 things arise. The special thing, don't be ignorant. Sometimes we may think that I am here, 5 aggregates are here. It is a misunderstanding. I and 5 aggregates are not different. Whenever I think something, whatever we experience something, at that moment, my entire life is that. When you think your mom, at that moment, your entire life is your mom. When you think your car, at that moment, your entire life is your car. When you think your university, at that moment, your entire life is your university. When you think your house, at that moment, your entire life is your house. Whenever you think your mom, at that moment, your entire life is your mom. When you think your physical body, at that moment, you have a physical body. If you don't think your physical body, at that moment, you don't have even your physical body. This is the nature of our life according to ultimate truth. But we work in this world with conventional truth. What is the conventional truth? Conventional truth is, before we were born, there was a world. After we die, the world remains. Everything, every rules, regulations depends on in this world on conventional truth. It is not fault, but when it goes to highest level, ultimate truth, it is not true. If we want to overcome completely ignorance, we should realize these 5 things again and again. For that, we have to develop mindfulness. First, we should be aware of our body. Then again and again, we should be aware of our consciousness, feelings, mental formations. Again and again, we trained our mind. We try to train our mind to live in the present moment. And little by little, practicing meditation technique such as breathing meditation, loving kindness meditation. Using these techniques, we try to train our mind to live in the present moment, because our mind always in the past experience. It is so complex. That is why, first of all, we should concentrate our mind to live in the present moment, when we are going to realize the impermanence. And that is why, as a help, as a technique, we practice concentration meditation. Then with concentrated mind, we reflect on impermanence. Whatever we think, we know very well that experience arises at the moment. When you hear something, you think that experience also arises at the moment. Like that. We have a lot of techniques to reflect on this reality. When we attain the first level of enlightenment, Sotapanna, Buddha has explained, there are 1,000 techniques, 1,000 methods. And we don't need to practice all advices, all teachings, all techniques. But at least we should practice one thing. And we can reflect on these 5 aggregates as impermanence, and also we can reflect our 6 senses as impermanent. Like that, there are 1,000 techniques to realize this reality. Have any question? Please ask. And actually, when we practice Dhamma, it is a gradual path. Like when we go to the ocean, it goes to the deeper level, little by little. Buddha says his message also like that. In the primary level, we practice generosity. In the second level, we practice discipline or morality, virtue. And next level, we practice loving kindness. Little by little, we train our mind. And whenever our mind is concentrated, we think this reality again and again. Our success, our skillfulness depends on how far we can concentrate our mind in the present moment with mindfulness. And Buddha says, when you practice mindfulness again and again, when you practice mindfulness again and again, then little by little your concentration increases. And also with concentrated mind, then our wisdom increases. Wisdom, intelligence, reflecting on impermanence. The duration that we reflect on impermanence gradually increases when we are on the path of mindfulness. And also our energy, we are courageous to go on this path when we see the results. When our mind is so calm and quiet, our happiness increases. Then our energy gradually increases. We are hurried to get the results. However, don't be hurried. But little by little, our energy, our courage increases. And it is energy. What is the next one? Confidence. When we have those things, our confidence confidence in Buddha's enlightenment, his teachings, his noble disciples, gradually increases. We have a good confidence. It is related to the understanding of the impermanence, the dependent origination. That is why Buddha says, Yo paticca samuppadam passati, so dhammam passati. He who sees the dependent origination or impermanence sees the Dhamma. He who sees the Dhamma sees the dependent origination. Yo dhammam passati, so paticca samuppadam passati. On the other side, Buddha says, Yo dhammam passati, so mam passati. He who sees the Dhamma sees the Buddha. He who sees the Buddha sees the Dhamma. That is why our wisdom and confidence in the same time increases. And these are the 5 spiritual faculties. Here, mindfulness is the center. It is the middle. These 5 things are like our 5 fingers. Mindfulness is like the middle one. And whenever we are in mindfulness, it means we are in the land of the Buddha. Whenever we are away from mindfulness, where we are? We are in the land of the Mara, devil, because we are with suffering. Whenever you are away from mindfulness, even though you are in a very safety house, luxurious room, you are in the field of the Mara. Whenever you are in mindfulness, even though you are homeless, you are under a tree, you have a refuge, safety, because you are in the land of the Buddha. Day by day, we should increase the duration of our time that we practice mindfulness. And whenever you are in mindfulness, then negative thoughts like greed, anger, delusion don't disturb your peace of mind. When you think something, your past experience, you know very well, now I read only my mind, not the real situation. Then we don't regret. We don't suffer. We can arrange something in future, but we do everything living in the present moment, keeping our attention in the present moment. Our success depends on how far we are clever to live in the present moment with mindfulness. It means we are not lazy. We are so courageous. We are so active. We are more active than we were before when we practice mindfulness. Because we know very well our happiness gradually increases. Then we dedicate our entire life to practice this message. While we are doing our jobs, our duties, other things, we give the priority to practice this message because we know very well this is the real path of liberation. Other everything go away one day. Even our physical complexion, good appearance also go away. And one day we have to leave our even physical body. In this situation, we find the real safety, refuge in our life. Mind is the real refuge. Okay? Have any question? Okay. Thank you for your good attention. We try to discuss Buddha's message in short. Actually, day by day, we discuss the same topic. But day by day, we go to the deeper level. Because Buddha also has mentioned that I have explained only 2 things. Buddha says, he explained only suffering and the getting rid of suffering. We also have the same thing. Suffering means if we live in the past experience with ignorance, that is suffering. If we can overcome this ignorance, then we are away from suffering. We are with happiness. And our success depends on our happiness. Our happiness depends on practicing mindfulness. And when we have mindfulness, then we have concentration, wisdom, energy, and confidence. This is the dowry. This is the wealth. When Buddha meets someone, Buddha directly reads that person's these 5 spiritual faculties, how much he has practiced in his previous life. This is the real wealth. This is the real property, dowry in our life. Day by day, please try to develop these 5 spiritual faculties, which never goes away from you. Okay? Thank you for your good attention and participation. I wish you a success, your happiness, your mindfulness. End of the sermon, we transfer the merits to our departed relatives as a custom. Actually, not just a custom. This is a very good opportunity to share our merits to with our departed relatives. Now you think your departed relatives, by the power of these merits, may they enhance their spiritual energy, may they have a better life, and finally, may they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to our beloved departed relatives too. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these merits, may guardian deities and angels also receive these merits. May they enhance their spiritual energy. May they protect you. May they keep their eye on you too. May they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits and guardian deities and angels too. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu sāsanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu desanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu desanam. By the power of all these merits, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. May you always be mindful and may you attain final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantā ca niddukkha, bhayam pantā ca nibbayā, sokam pantā ca nissokā, anto sambe pipānino.